Thanksgiving was supposed to be about family, tradition, and gratitude. I showed up at my sister's house with a pie in one hand and a smile on my face. But when I knocked, the only thing that greeted me was silence. Then the click of a lock sliding shut. Through the window, I saw the table glowing with candles, relatives laughing, plates piled high. And me? I stood outside in the cold, treated like a stranger. That night, I went home with more than hurt feelings. I went home with a plan. And days later, a lawyer delivered a paper worth $50,000. Thanksgiving had always been my holiday. For years, I hosted, setting the table, roasting the turkey, making sure no one left hungry. My sister helped sometimes, but I carried the weight. This year, she insisted on hosting. "You've done enough," she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Let me take care of it." And so I agreed. I baked pies, wrapped a bottle of wine, and drove over, humming along to the radio. I imagined hugs at the door, the smell of stuffing, children running to greet me. Instead, when I knocked, nothing happened. I knocked again. Harder. Finally, I heard footsteps. My sister's voice came through the door. "Sorry, we don't have space for you this year." I froze. "What do you mean?" "I'm family." Her tone was cool. "You've hosted long enough. It's our turn. You'll be fine." Then came the sound I'll never forget. The lock sliding into place. Through the window, I caught a glimpse of the table. Golden turkey in the center, laughter rising as glasses clinked. My nieces and nephews digging into mashed potatoes, unaware or unwilling to see me standing in the cold. My chest tightened. I had given so much to this family. Money, when bills piled up, hours of care when sickness struck, endless meals cooked with love. And now on Thanksgiving, I was shut out like I didn't exist. I stood there a moment longer, pie growing heavy in my hands. Then I turned, walked back to my car, and drove home in silence. That night, alone at my kitchen table, I ate a slice of pie by myself. But with every bite, my anger sharpened into something else. Resolve, because locking me out wasn't just cruel, it was costly, and my sister was about to find out exactly how costly. The morning after Thanksgiving, I woke up with swollen eyes and a heavy heart, but sadness quickly gave way to determination. I pulled out a folder I hadn't opened in years. Old financial records, receipts, property papers, pages that proved just how much I had poured into my sister's life over the years, from the down payment on her house to the loan she never repaid, to the medical bills I quietly covered. All together, over $50,000. I had always told myself it didn't matter, that family was worth more than money, but as I stood outside her locked door, treated like an outsider, I realized something. She hadn't just taken my kindness for granted, she had erased it. That afternoon, I made a phone call. "Law offices of Grant and Lewis," a woman answered. "I'd like to schedule a consultation," I said, my voice steady. "It's about a debt." "Judge one." By Monday, I was sitting in a quiet office across from a lawyer in a dark suit. He listened patiently as I laid out the history, sliding documents across his desk. His eyes widened slightly as he added the numbers. "50,000? He asked. "Yes," I said, "all in writing. Checks, transfers, even texts where she promised to repay me someday." He leaned back in his chair. "You have a strong case. I can draft a demand letter immediately." When I left the office, a copy of the letter sat neatly in my purse. It was short, blunt, and impossible to ignore. "Pay what you owe. 50,000, or face court proceedings." For years, I had swallowed disrespect, telling myself family was more important than pride. But there's a difference between forgiveness and being treated like a fool. My sister thought locking me out would make me small. Instead, it made me sharper, stronger. That letter wasn't revenge. It was a reminder that debts, whether of money or respect, eventually come due, and this time I wasn't going to let her walk away without paying the price. The letter arrived on a Thursday afternoon. I know because my phone rang before dinner, my sister's number flashing on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was frantic, sharp, laced with panic. "What is this? A lawyer? $50,000? You can't be serious? We're family." For years, those words had been her shield. Family. As if being related excused every unpaid debt, every cruel slight. This time it carried no weight. By evening, my phone buzzed again. A text from my niece. Mom's crying. Did you really send papers? I stared at the message, then typed back, yes. Actions have consequences. The next day, the calls spread. Cousins, uncles, even my brother-in-law reached out. Some scolded me. It's Thanksgiving. You should forgive. Others whispered their support. Good for you. She's taken advantage of you for too long. Meanwhile, my sister stormed on social media, posting vague lines about betrayal and greed, but she didn't post the receipts, the proof, the years of sacrifices I had covered without complaint. Inside her house, tension brewed. Neighbors told me later they heard shouting. Her husband demanded answers. Did you really owe her this money? And she couldn't deny it. The papers spoke louder than excuses. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one left outside in the cold. She was. The following Sunday, she showed up at my door. I didn't open it. Through the intercom, I heard her voice crack. Please, can't we just talk? Do we really have to involve lawyers? I kept my tone calm. You involved them the moment you locked me out. The moment you pretended my sacrifices never existed. There was silence. Then a sob. But I didn't waver. Because sometimes it takes more than words to remind people of their obligations. Sometimes it takes a lawyer's letter stamped in black and white. And as much as it pained me, I knew this wasn't just about money. It was about reclaiming respect that had been denied for too long. The following week was chaos. Family group chats lit up like fireworks. Half the relatives scolded me. How could you drag this into court? She's your sister. The other half whispered their support. She finally got what she deserved. For once, the division wasn't about politics or holidays. It was about truth. My sister avoided me, but I heard plenty through others. She raged at dinners, claiming I was greedy, that I cared more about money than family. But when pressed, she couldn't deny the documents, the checks with her name, the bank transfers, even the text messages where she promised to pay me back someday. Someday had arrived. My lawyer called to update me. She has 30 days to respond formally. If she ignores it, we move to court. And given your paperwork, the judge will side with you? I thanked him, my voice calm. Relief settled into my bones. At the same time, my phone buzzed constantly. One cousin begged me to drop it, saying, think of the children. Another message quietly, stand strong. She's been walking over you for years. And then came the call that mattered most. My mother. Her voice was tired, trembling. I don't want to take sides. But I saw the papers. You were right. She owes you. She always has. For the first time, my mother acknowledged the truth aloud. That was worth more than the $50,000. Meanwhile, my sister grew quieter. Friends noticed her posts slowed. Neighbors whispered she seemed rattled, pacing the yard at night, phone pressed to her ear. Pride kept her from apologizing, but the weight of the letter was cracking her armor. Finally, at another family gathering I didn't attend, someone told me she broke down. In front of everyone, she admitted, yes, I owe her. And yes, I locked her out. I thought I could get away with it. The room went silent. No one rushed to defend her this time, because the truth, once spoken, changes everything. And now my sister wasn't the one holding the power. I was. The deadline loomed. 30 days came faster than either of us expected. Each morning I checked the mailbox, half expecting another letter from her lawyer. Nothing came. On the 28th day, the phone rang. It was her. Her voice was hoarse, stripped of the sharp edges I had grown used to. I can't fight this, she admitted. The papers are clear. The lawyer says I'll lose in court. What do you want from me? I let her words hang in the air. For years she had taken, without asking, assumed my silence meant consent. Now she was forced to ask. I want acknowledgement, I said firmly. And repayment. Every cent, she sighed. It will take time. We don't have that kind of money lying around, then you'll make time, I replied. Because if you don't, the court will. There was a long pause, then a defeated whisper. All right, I'll pay true to her word. Within weeks, the first transfer arrived. 10,000, then another 5. Slowly, piece by piece, the debt shrank. Each payment was more than money. It was respect, arriving in installments. Word spread quickly. Relatives who had mocked me for being too harsh now called with a different tone. You were brave, one said. You taught us all something. Even my sister changed. She no longer dodged my eyes at gatherings. Instead, She spoke carefully, almost gently. She stopped boasting, stopped pretending she carried the family alone. It wasn't perfect. The wound of Thanksgiving still ached, but every deposit into my account stitched a piece of dignity back where she had torn it away. One afternoon, after she sent the final payment, she called. "It's done," she said quietly. "50,000. You got what you wanted?" "No," I corrected. "I got what I deserved." There was silence, then a reluctant, almost broken reply. "You're right." And in that moment, I felt lighter. Not because of the money, but because I had forced the truth into the open. She locked me out on Thanksgiving, thinking she held the power. But in the end, it was the lawyer's paper, crisp, undeniable, that opened every door she thought she had closed. In the end, Thanksgiving wasn't remembered for the turkey or the pie. It was remembered for a locked door and the paper that followed. $50,000 spelled out in black and white. My sister thought shutting me out would make me powerless, but she learned the hard way that debts and disrespect don't vanish with silence. They wait. And one day they come due. The money mattered, yes. But what mattered more was the shift, the moment my voice carried weight, when my sacrifices were no longer invisible. Now, when my sister sees me, she doesn't look past me, she looks at me, knowing I will never again be treated as disposable. So let me ask you, have you ever been dismissed only to prove that your worth was greater than they imagined? Share your story in the comments and join me for more tales of respect reclaimed.